Okay, we're going to reconvene the conference committee on House Bill 300 HD1 SD1 relating to the state budget. For the House, it's myself as chairs, Representatives Grandinetti, Holt, Hussey, Liloy, Kitagawa, Kush, Lamosao, Lee, Miyake, Morikawa, Takinauchi, Templo, Elkos, and Reyes Oda.
For the Senate, same members.
Okay, I'm going to do that next time. Okay. You can always kind of tell when if we're going to vote, because when I was doing CIP, the CIP don't show up. Anyway, yeah, we're moving along, and I think we have some more agrees that we're going to go on to read off. It's going okay.
Oh, okay, sorry, that's my cue. Okay, for AGR, program ID AGR 122, sequence, page 3, sequence 2100-001, Senate.
Okay, for AGS 111 on page 28, sequence 2102-001, Senate. AGS 131 on page 29, 30-001, House. Same program ID on page 29, 31-001, House. Same program ID, page 30, 104-001, Senate. Same ID on page 30, 105-001, Senate. Same program ID, 131, on page 32, 109-00, I'm sorry, 109-103, House. AGS 901, page 42, 30-001, House. AGS 901 on page 42, sequence 101-001, House. For BED, program ID 120 on page 65, 100-001, Senate. On BED 120, page 166, 101-001, Senate. BED 142 on page 68, 100-001, Senate. BED 142 on page 68, 1100-001, House. BED 142 on page 68, program sequence 2100-001, Senate. BED 144 on page 72, 70-001, House. BED 144, page 73, 101-001, House. BED 144 on page 73, sequence 102-001, House. BED 144 on page 73, 103-001, Senate. BED 150 on page 75, 100-001, House. BED 150 on page 75, 101-001, Senate. On BED 160 on page 76, 4-001, House. BED 160, page 76, 100-001. This will be a House Senate adjustment, sequence 3000. This will be 21,600 W funds for both years. BED 160 on page 77, 102-001, sequence 3000, 231,000 W funds in FY26 and 60,000 W funds in FY27. BED 170 on page 79, sequence 2100-001, Senate. BED 170 on page 79, 2102-001, Senate.
For DCCA, CCA 191, page 94, sequence 101-001, Senate. For Defense, DEF 116, page 103, 100-001, Senate.
Okay, moving on to education, EDN. EDN 100, page 116, 109-105, sequence 109-105, Senate. EDN 100, page 117, 109-108, House. EDN 100 on page 118, sequence 109-109, House. EDN 100, page 118, sequence 109-110, House. EDN 100, page 119, sequence 109-112, House. EDN 200, page 121, sequence 103-001, House. EDN 200, page 122, sequence 106-001, Senate. EDN 200, page 122, 108-001, Senate. EDN 300, page 105, 105-001, Senate. EDN 300, page 128, 109-001, Senate. EDN 407, page 134, 105-001, House.
For DHHL, HHL 625, page 145, sequence number 218-001, sequence 3000.
003.
Oh, 1003, sequence 3000, $1,200,162 in A funds in both years. And in HMS 501, page 170, 103-001, Senate.
Oh, sorry.
HMS 555, page 174, 321-003, sequence 3000, 6 permanent FTE, and $876,000 both years.
Okay, for DHERD, HRD 102 on page 198, sequence 109-001. This will be a House Senate adjustment, sequence 3,000, 39,100 A funds in FY26 and 111,250 A funds in FY27. For the Department of Health, HTH 131 on page 203, 100-001, this be a House Senate adjustment, sequence 3,000, one permanent position, one permanent FTE, 109,800 in both years. HTH 131 on page 203, sequence 101-001, sequence be also a House Senate adjustment, sequence 3,000, one permanent FTE, 175,000 FY27. Got the next page. On page 10, same, HTH 131 on page 204, 102-001, House. HTH 590 on page 229, 22-001, House. HTH 590 on page 227, 22-002, House. HTH 710, this is a sequence 3,100-001, House Senate adjustment, one permanent position, one permanent FTE, $71,016 in both years.
For Department of Law Enforcement, Law 503, page 248, sequence number 2040-001, Senate. Same program ID, page 249, sequence 2060-001, Senate. Law 505, page 256, sequence number 2100-001, Senate. Law 900, page 259, sequence number 2102-001, Senate. Same program ID, page 259, sequence number 2103-001, Senate. And Law 901, page 262, sequence number 2070-001, Senate.
Moving on to LNR. LNR 401 on page 275, 30-001, House. LNR 404 on page 282, 102-001, House. LNR 404 on page 282, 103-001, House. LNR 404 on page 283, 104-001, House Senate adjustment for sequence 3,000, $107,649 in fiscal year 26 and 27. LNR 405, page 285, 102-001, another House Senate adjustment, sequence 3,000, $512,875 in both years. LNR 906, page 288, 30-001, House. LNR 906 on page 289, 70-001, Senate. LNR 906 on page 292, 101-001, Senate. LNR 906 on page 293, 103-001, House.
For Department of Taxation, Tax 107, page 304, sequence number 100-001. This is a House Senate adjustment, sequence 3,000. $338,150 for fiscal year 26, and $1,343,400 in fiscal year 27. Same program ID, page 305, sequence number 101-001, Senate. Same program ID, page 306, sequence number 1100-001, House.
Okay, moving on to the Department of Transportation, TRN 195, page 313, sequence 218005, Senate. TRN 195 on page 314, 2100-001, Senate. TRN 301 on page 316, 100-001, Senate. TRN 595 on page 328, sequence number 218003, Senate. TRN 995 on page 331, 2100-001, Senate. TRN 995 on page 331, 2101, 001, Senate.
Okay, and last but not least, UOH 900, page 355, sequence number 2070-001, and despite what Civil Beat says, Senate.
Thank you very much. As you can see, we had the bulk of the reading, so we was doing the bulk of the work as normal. Only kidding. Okay, no, but we thank you. We actually accomplished a lot in the past few days, so I appreciate us working together well and moving along. So we'll continue, and then we'll just reconvene. Okay, so I think we'll reconvene on Monday at 5 p.m. in this room. Okay. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.